everybody, it's Larry, 3+1. Hey, today we wanted to show you guys how we do our trophies. I've got 5 deer heads mounted, and I'm gonna tell you, I really regretted mounting each one of them after I learned how to do European mounts. If I had to do over again, if I could go back through the years, every buck I ever killed, I would do a European mount. And I know there's videos out there showing you how to do it. I want to show you how we do it. I know people bury them and different things, and I've got one up here I'll show you later in this video that was buried, and I'll show you the reason we don't do that. But first thing you gotta do is get all the hide off and get all the meat you can off the deer skull before you start boiling it to get the rest of it off. So that's where we're gonna start. Start skinning the deer head. And there's no certain technique. It's all got to come off. You're not saving the cape or anything, so just cut away.
I reckon you need this.
Yeah, I'll throw it in there. Thanks, sir. Anyway, all I'm gonna do, and we can save you some of the gory detail if you want, but I'm gonna peel all the hide off of the deer heads first thing I'm gonna do. I can tell you guys right now, I can show you this real quick and let you know. So if you are gonna do a European mount, all you have to do is cut that head off, cut around the neck as close as you can up to the deer head. Once you get it cut, the meat all the way around, just grab that rack and that head and just twist it off of it. And then you will twist it off and not have this joint right here that's connected in there. It's got to come out. I'll probably have to bolt it some before I get this one out. I'm doing this one for a friend. He killed it. He didn't want to mount it. He asked me would I do a European mount for him, and I agreed to do it.
Before YouTube, Daddy did quite a few of these in his spare time.
Yeah, I used to do several people's. It's just, you know, it takes time doing it, material, and I'm not a taxidermist, so I couldn't charge nobody for doing it. So I was just doing it out of the goodness of my heart. And I'll be honest, it got where I was having so many to do every year, I just decided I'm not going to do it anymore. But this guy, he's a friend, and I've done several for him. He asked me would I do it, and I said yes, I'll do this one. I even thought about getting my license and start doing it, but I'd done so many for free, everybody expected them for free. So it was kind of hard to turn back in. And as you can see, I've been ambitious. This is a deer back here that I killed myself a couple of years ago with a bow. And I was going to try my hand at mounting the whole thing, and I still may, but I'm going to be honest, I regret now not just doing a European mount with the deer. This takes a little time. I need to sharpen my knife a little bit, but right now it's all right. I don't want to reach in here and cut a finger off or nothing. And I'm cutting off this bottom jaw and everything right now. And of course, all the bottom jaw will come off. Bottom jaw will not be on the deer when it's done. I have a few European mounts hanging up there on the wall that I've done of myself, for myself. Mine always come after everybody else's I was doing, so the time I would get to mine, I wouldn't really care about doing it anymore. I'd be tired of doing it.
So you're just pulling back on the meat and pretty much letting the blade ride the bone.
I'm just pulling back, just letting the knife ride right up next to the bone. You're not going to hurt anything. You're not going to cut anything that you don't need to. The only place you will have any cartilage left is up inside the deer nose, and because everything else is soft, when you boil it, you're going to get off. I will go ahead and say now, when we get to the boiling point, I will show you. You don't want to boil them too long because there is seams in the skull, and if you boil them too long, they will come apart on you. And I've done a few that the nose and stuff's come apart. And I was able just to take some crazy glue, super glue, and glue them back on. They stayed fine. So if that does happen, don't get too excited about it. You can fix it.
But we'll show you the amount of time that you'll pretty much always avoid that.
Yes.
We've learned the hard way, so you don't have to.
And if you know you're going to do a European mount, while you got your deer hanging up, you can do this part. It's just according on how you hang them. I know some people hang them by the back feet. Some people hang them by the head. Different ways. People do different things different ways. And I'm not going to say there's a right or a wrong way.
What way do you normally hang yours?
I usually hang mine by the back feet, head down. I have learned over the years. I have electric hoist over. I haven't put it up out here. But what I usually do is I got a tree out here with a cable in it where I put my I can't think what they're called right now. You remember what they're called, Cody?
I have no clue what you're even talking about.
Where I put my thing to hang the deer on.
Shackles?
Anyway, where I put it and what I do, it's got pulleys on it, and I'll usually get the deer hooked to it, and I'll tie the rope to the bumper of the truck, and I'll pull it up in the air with the truck. And I'm sure you've seen videos and stuff out there. You can actually take a four-wheeler or your truck, get that hide started, and rip the hide off the deer like that. But hide comes off the deer pretty good, pretty easy.
Grab hold of it and sit down.
Yeah. Deer are not real hard to clean. I've cleaned a bunch of them over the years. When my boys were young, we eat a lot of deer. We were poor. We didn't have a whole lot. And we eat a lot of deer. Kept us from going hungry. But I love deer meat. Deer meat's one of my favorite meats to eat. I tell you, one of my favorite things is, and maybe one of these nights, I'll talk Amy into cooking some, and she can share with you how she does it. But chili, deer chili, I love deer chili. But I tell you what, I'm blessed in that category to have a wife that can cook like nobody's business. Actually, over the years, she's perfected cooking deer meat any way you would beef. And I've had her cook roast before, and I had to ask her, was it beef or deer? Anyway, all I'm doing is just, like Cody said, following this skull down, cutting the hide off. Once I get the hide off, I'll start trimming meat all I can. But you can also, around this horns, you can take a screwdriver or something and take and pry in there and pop that hide down underneath these horns and stuff. And have a screwdriver.
Antlers.
Use whatever you got, I guess. Because like I said, you're not going to hurt nothing as long as you don't beat the skull or anything to break it.
I know there was somebody watching this sitting there going, they're not horns. They're antlers.
I'm sure, yes, they are. There are antlers. But, hey, when you live in Kentucky all your life, you learn Kentucky talk. I think sometimes Kentuckians have their own language. I've noticed other places in the country, people call different things. You know, there's always that debate we see with the flatheads. Some people want to call them shovel heads. We call them flatheads. Call them what you want, it's the same fish.
Yellow cats.
Yeah, some people call them yellow cats.
Mud cats.
Different things. People call different things all over the country. I go to Michigan a lot. I tell you what, there's a great group of guys up there. The mold shop I go to, a bunch of outdoorsmen. I always enjoy going up there. Been blessed to go up there and fish with them some, do some walleye fishing, salmon fishing, different things. But one thing I can tell you, when I get up there, the one thing I've noticed, they talk different to each other than we do around here. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a little different. Different parts of the country, you see a little different things. I got over here beside us, I've got a coyote skin salted down. I'm on a tan. My daughter killed last deer season. I've got a turkey fan there salted with spurs and the beard. Maybe I might even do a video show you how I do them. Show you how to fix your own trophy where it don't cost you a lot of money. Because we all know anymore the hunting and fishing costs you a lot of money. You know the thing, you know, we go out to get, supposed to be getting, you know, free meat, but the time we buy all of our stuff to do it with and everything, it gets pretty expensive. Pretty expensive. Just trying to hurry up and get some of this off here out of my way. That, and hey, we was talking about that cooking thing. My wife, when I came up here, she was putting the homemade dumplings in the pot for chicken and dumplings. So, yeah, I'm excited to get them too. Ain't nothing like some good homemade chicken and dumplings. As you can see, I've cut it all to pieces because it don't matter. It's just being thrown away. But I do believe this is the best way to do your deer trophy, my opinion. We all have opinions. If you have the money and you like the mounts, for sure, get it mounted.
The wall space for them all.
Yeah, the wall space for them all. All my mounts are not even at my house. They're at my parents' house. I've got 5 deer heads over there on their wall. My mother was telling me the other day, they're getting ready to remodel the living room. She said I was going to have to come get them. I guess if I do, they'll be hanging up here in the building somewhere. But we don't really have room down there in the house for them. We do have a spare room. I guess I could make that spare room where I hang them.
That's where all the kids play, though.
Yeah, that's where the kids
They'd have them tore off the wall.
Probably. But again, I'm going to say yes. I've hunted for a number of years. I ain't like today kids seem to go hunting younger and younger. I didn't get to go deer hunting until I was about 15 years old. But I was fortunate enough to kill a little 4-point buck first year I went. But if I had it to do over, I would definitely do European mounts on every buck that I ever harvested. Now I had a bunch of racks and stuff I'd killed over the years that got stole from us and broke in our house. They stole a bunch of my racks. So I'm sure somebody got to make knife handles out of them.
Or claim they killed them.
Yeah. Which got worried more. I try to pass the bucks unless they're pretty good. Want one to eat, we'll kill a doe. You know, we eat the buck too, but want meat, usually we'll shoot a doe or two. I took Cannon, I'll put out a video with it. I took Cannon last weekend, and anyway, we've seen several deer, but I'm gonna take him again in the morning. See if we can get his first deer. Cannon's 7. I think Cody can tell you, I think all my boys were 8 when they killed their first deer. See, this is one of the things I was talking about. If you do this right, this part back here, all this, if you do that right, if you cut that right, when you get ready to, when you're cleaning the deer, go all the way around it. It's a lot easier to break that knuckle out there in the back of the head than it is after somebody's cut it off and left a piece of that neck. And this is what he did. So I've got to get that knuckle out of there. So just cutting around, hoping I can somehow get a hold of it enough I can twist it out of there. I'm not sure if nothing else. We'll speed this up during the video.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You might have been talking to the camera and them not hearing you. Mama might end up speeding through most of this, but either way, if not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking down a lot of time when I'm talking.
That's fine, because if she does end up speeding through it, that's just as good. They can hear you just fine. It's pretty quiet up here in the garage.
Yeah, the boys are at the house, so it's a lot quieter up here. I'm gonna try to get a hold of this and break it off there if I can. Hold that rack for me. Try to break it out of there if I can. Get it out of the way. That's the reason I say when you got that whole head on there, you can twist that and break it. I may have to boil it some before I get it out of there. I'm trying to cut it enough all the way up. See if I can't get a hold of it enough to twist it right now. See if I can get these needle nose in there where I can get a hold of it and pop it out of there. Oh! That hurt my cold hands. It's cold up here in this building. And I got a heater over there. I don't know why I don't have it on. Because it makes too much noise, probably.
Yeah, that
The space heater.
yeah, it puts off a lot of heat, but it puts off a lot of noise.
But anyway, I think I about got it where it comes off there. I just can't get a hold of it enough to twist it or anything. This is a lot easier to get that off. There, it popped out there. There we go. Anyway, that would pop off a lot easier if you had the whole head, the head still on the body, and you just pop it loose at that knuckle that goes up into the head.
Twist the head off.
So I'm gonna try to go ahead and get the jaw and everything off, get as much off as I can before we boil it. That way I don't have to boil it as long. The meat's a lot thinner. Less boiling, the better. But also, I gotta boil it enough to get all the meat and everything loose enough and tender enough to come off, and to get all the brains and everything out of it.
You're trying to boil it long enough to break down the cartilage, but not so long that it breaks down the bone.
Right. And there's a lot of cartilage, which I can show you once we get this all cleaned up, and when we get ready to bleach it and finish it up. I'll show you all the seams and everything you got to worry about the cartilage and everything coming out of. Again, right now I'm just cutting away at any meat I can to get it out of there, just get it out of my way where I don't have to boil it and get it off. But I'm also not going to fight a long time with it. I'll have it in the pot boiling.
Go eat dinner white bulls.
Yep. Cody, that's something I didn't do yet. I ain't filled the pot up with the water. I need to do that. And I'll show you when I've got a big old pot. I don't know where he was hunting at. I can tell you this deer has a mouthful of corn.
And we can hunt over
You can
hunt over bait just in Kentucky. I know a lot of states don't allow it.
Well, I think he's hunting where he's hunting. I think it's crop fields.
Oh, okay, so I know that looked like shelled corn, so.
It might be, I don't know. I just know the area that he hunts, the county he hunts in, it is a lot of crop fields and a lot of, that's one of the big farms there, you know, do. I'm gonna continue cutting. And there's no method to my madness other than removing meat. That's it. Removing meat, getting it off her. Get a pair of pliers if you want to. You know, when you can grab a hold of something, hold it up where you can cut and don't worry about cutting them fingers or anything. I'm just gonna hack away as long and as much as I can. There's a lot of meat, but the more meat you get off before you boil, the better off you are. And I know also, seen videos where people use a pressure washer to blow a lot of this off, and you can do that. But I'm gonna suggest if you do that, to do it back here on the back to the thicker part of the skull, but don't do it up here in the front because you'll eat all this up a lot of times, and I just don't want you to tear it up where you can't put it back together.
Teeth are pretty rough on that deer, aren't they?
Yeah. I'll try to age him here in a minute. I'm not the best at aging, but I can look at him. I can get pretty close.
Just by looking at the rack, we say 4.5.
I think looking at the rack, I'm saying 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
With all that character?
Yeah. I mean, it's only 14.5 inches wide. It's heavy, but not really, really heavy.
Right.
Looking at it, I say the deer is probably 3.5 years old. And
I just thought the character kind of made me think it might have had.
I know a lot of guys trophy hunt. I do too, to a point. But I can say this about trophy hunting. To me, that 3.5-year-old deer is the hardest one to let walk. He's got enough bone usually that it's hard to let him walk. If I can get this bottom jaw off, I may go ahead and start boiling this sucker. The jaw goes up in a hole there. I'm gonna try to get my knife up in there, cut enough of the meat out. I can get it out of there.
All right, turn it sideways so we can see exactly where you're talking about on this jaw.
Right up under the eye. It goes up in there. Of course, you can see the eye moving there, and that's where the jaw bone goes up in there. So I'm gonna try to cut some of that so I can get that jaw out of there and get it out of the way. I ain't no need me boiling something that I don't want. Here, I'll cut some of this right here. You can see it's a lot of fat and tougher tissue here in this part. Bunch of fat right here. Also, when we kill a deer, when we harvest a deer this year, I'll show you something I do with the fat to make a cover scent that I use. And might be something you want to try. That's all just fat in that hole. You can see that's where that bone goes all the way up in there. I'm gonna try to cut some of this off right here. Try to get that to come out of there. Got a big hunk of meat there on top of the head. Well, I'm sure if a man wanted to, he could cook the deer head. Get some meat off of it he wanted to eat. Guess it's all according on how much you want to eat and what you want to do. I ain't ever eaten no deer head, but I ain't above trying it, I can tell you that. Go on a camp trip, deer hunting trip. Man, might try just about anything. I've been on some camping trips on deer hunts where we were hunting a couple counties away. But we stayed in an old house one time. It was pretty nice. Just didn't have no electricity or running water in it. It was just an old house back on the back of a farm. But you didn't have to worry about no tent or anything. Had a roof over our head. We had kerosene heaters with us and kept warm. See if I can get that to come out of there yet. Oh yeah, looky there, looky there. I just peeled them bones right out of there. There's more right here I can cut off.
His teeth ain't as worn as I thought they were.
They're pretty worn, I'm gonna tell you. Deer's older than I thought he was. Looking at it right here.
Oh yeah, they are.
Way.
Yeah, they're way down in there.
This deer.
Maybe a lot older and on the decline.
He, I would say this deer is 6.5 years old. Looking at him. So every deer is not gonna make a monster. This is a good mature deer.
6.5 should be peak.
Which I know he told me this deer field dressed 190 some pounds. So it was a big deer, big bodied deer. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get just a little bit more off here. And then I'm probably just gonna go ahead and boil to soften all this up. But I can tell you now, all this in here, you got a lot of little bones you'll see later. And it's always the hardest part to clean. The rest of it will clean up pretty good. So I'm gonna just try to clean just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my water and get him boiling. And we'll go from there. First one of these I ever done, I'll tell you now, I just put regular bleach in my water, and that's been back in the 90s. I've done a big 6-point kill. And anyway, I didn't know nothing about, and I'll show you here before we're done what kind of bleach we use and the peroxide we use and everything, how we bleach it. And how to mix it up. But anyway, I've got enough off here now that I'm going to get it in the water and start boiling it. We'll boil it off and then we'll go from there. All right, you can see I've got a pretty good sized pot. I bought this pot one day at a yard sale for $5. When I seen it, I said, I know exactly what I'm going to do with that pot. So I get the pot filled with water. I'll actually take a stick or something, keep this rack where the whole skull will stay underwater. But one of the things I always do is I add some degreaser to my water. By adding that degreaser, it helps clean that skull a lot better, gets that fat off of it and everything, just helps clean the skull a lot better, helps the meat and everything to come off of it better. So I always put some degreaser in my water when I'm boiling it. Now,
about a half a cup.
Yeah, probably. It was probably over a cup. It was probably that much in.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But anyway. So
and that's Purple Power you're using?
It doesn't matter what brand or what you use, just as long as you got some degreaser. I've had this jug for quite a while. That's the only thing I've ever used it for, is putting it in there to boil my deer heads off. But as you can see, I have my fire here. I'm not going to fire it up real high. We're getting ready to go down there and have some of them chicken and dumplings that we were talking about while this boils. so I ain't gonna turn my flame up. I don't want it to get boiling too much. But where I have a drain right here in the floor. Anyway, it'll probably have to boil for a good hour, hour and a half before I can get the meat off. So we'll let it do its thing while we go down here and have some good chicken and dumplings. So last night we finished boiling the head off and scraping it and cleaning it good. Today we're going to put the bleach to it. So this is the bleach I use. It's basic white, Clairol. It's bleach like you bleach your hair with. And this is the stabilizer that I use, the peroxide. I have volume 50, so it's 50% by volume. It's pretty stout stuff. So it'd be my recommendation for you to wear gloves if you do this. I usually don't because I'm a hard head. But anyway, let me show you how to mix it up. So this has a scoop inside it. And for a deer head like this one, it's probably going to take about I'm going to say about a scoop and a half of the bleach. So we're going to put that in there. Then we're going to add the stabilizer, the peroxide. And you can actually just put the peroxide on there and wrap the skull in aluminum foil. But I've never tried one that way, but I've seen it done that way. I always use the bleach. I like the way it comes out. It does a great job. It bleaches it. It does a great job. So now I'm going to mix this, and be careful and don't add too much, because what you want to do, you want to mix this up to like the consistency of ketchup or something. Something that you can spread and apply onto the skull really good. I already see I'm going to need just a little more wet. Put some more in there. Mix this up real good. And of course you don't want to make it too wet or it won't stay on the way you want it to. And you don't want to make up a lot more than what you're going to use, just wasting your materials. So as you can see, I have this made up about like the consistency of ketchup. That's about the right consistency. And now we're just going to spread it all over the skull. But what you want to do, even if you may want to tape the bottom of the horns up, because just remember, anywhere you get this bleach, it's going to bleach it. So if you get it up here on your horns, up here on the antlers, it's going to bleach it also. So I'm going to go ahead and start spreading this bleach. And always, when I'm doing one, I'll start with the bottom, reaching up in here, getting up here in the eye cavity and everything where I can see it before I turn it back over. Because you want it all to be good and white. You don't want, you know, some of it to be white, some of it to be discolored. You want it all to be good and white. So I'm going to start by getting down in here, down in this eye cavity while I have it upside down, where I can see up in some of these holes and stuff in here. But you're just going to paint it on. Just have you a small paintbrush and just paint it on. Now I know minimalist is a big thing right now, and I've even had people talk to me and tell me, you know, as a minimalist, their trophy they didn't bleach it. They just boiled it off and cleaned it off and left it as is. It's all to what the person prefers. I really like the bleached skulls. I think they really look good. As I told you yesterday, if I had it to do over, every buck I ever killed would get a European mount. As a matter of fact, I killed one today, and I'll be doing a European mount on it. Killed an 8-pointer today. It wasn't nothing special, but he was a decent deer. He was young. To be honest, I probably should have let him walk, but at the same time, tickled to have him. God bless me with him. I'm not going to moan, groan, and gripe because I killed something I shouldn't have. And I'm not worried about, you know, some people, well, why didn't you let that deer walk? I agree with them. I probably should have, but you know what? I killed it. It's going to feed my family, and it's going to hang up here with some more of mine. I was tickled to have him. And the special thing about it was, I had a grandson today that killed his first deer, and he killed a little spike buck. I'll be doing a European mount on it as well. You know, to kill a deer at the same time my grandson killed one, it's pretty special to me. They were in one stand, I was in another location on the farm, and but anyway, it's still special to kill them both the same day. It's something that he and I can remember forever together. My daughter and I killed, when she killed her first deer, me and her both killed 8 pointers that morning together. It was pretty nice. And right there is one reason it may be better off to take that. I just had a big clump of, as I was doing this, I rubbed across that spot there, and a big clump of this fell down toward the antlers. Of course, I caught it before it got on the antlers, but just something to remember. You know, you never know. You may have to just take a little more precaution there. You know, like I said, you don't want to get it on the antlers because it will turn the antlers white as well. I'm going to get all this underneath and then turn it over and get the upper side. Right now, you can see I've pretty much spread it everywhere. I'm even spreading it on the inside as I can. Even back here, even though that part will never be seen once it's put on the board. And I'll show you how we always do them on the board too. Fix them where their heads sitting in a natural posture. So I've got the underneath pretty good. Come to the top. And it's looking like I may have spread that a little thick. May have to make up a little more bleach. But I'll leave this on here till tomorrow evening when I get off work, and I'll take it off. Probably should have cleaned my board up here before I started working, because I dropped some down on it. And it's got a little debris there on it, but it ain't gonna hurt anything. I'm gonna put it on here anyway. Get it all up in this nose cavity here. Get all this inside and out of there. Other things up in this eye. Come around on this side, make sure I get all up in that eye socket, inside and out. The other eye socket, inside and out. Down in this little ridge here, got a lot of nooks and crannies and crevices. Just make sure you get all the bone covered, so it all bleaches the same. I may have to mix up just a little bit more. I mean, I may be able to rob a little here and there, get it where I don't have to. And I can tell you, I done a bear head for a guy one time, and he asked me to leave the teeth colored, so it turned out really good. Keep the teeth, I didn't bleach the teeth, I bleached the rest of the skull. It was pretty cool looking. I don't know what happened there. I looked up, I was getting ready to mix up just a little bit more bleach, and I looked up and my video went off, and I was looking at my boat back there behind me on there. So I don't really know what happened. But anyway, I hope I had what I had before. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to, don't wear no good clothes like I have up here to do this. Get bleach on it, my wife will be fussing at me. I tend to ruin a lot of things. I don't think before I do a lot of times. Imagine that. But anyway, I'm just making sure I get all down in here. Guess this is all sinus cavity in the side of the skull there, them holes. Just making sure I get down in them good. So it all colors. Like I said, I've made sure I got down in the nose good and the teeth good. And them teeth probably still have some discolor. They're pretty black. Then just be careful around the rack, like I said, around the antlers. You don't want to turn your antlers white. You can take more precaution and tape those up if you would like. It would probably be the smartest thing to do, but I don't always do the smartest thing, I don't guess. We'll get some down in the brain cavity. I just like getting all the holes. It seems like it turns out a lot better if you can get down in all the holes. And we'll try to spread it on them teeth pretty. The teeth pretty thick because they're pretty black. I want some more of the skull. I done made up a little more. I might as well put it to use. Back. Sure, get all this. And the thicker part of the skull here always seems like takes a little more to, I guess it has to absorb in and get in there deeper. We're getting it covered pretty good now. But anyway, so we'll leave this on here overnight. I'll actually leave it on here till tomorrow when I get off work. And I'll come out here after work tomorrow and clean it off. Actually, I'll be out here about every day this week. I have my own deer head to do now. I have 2 grandsons. One just killed a doe, but I told him he still wanted me to do him a European mount. So I've never done one on a doe, but I'm gonna do one. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe once we get it done, we'll take a picture of it or something, make a community post and show you guys how it turned out. But anyway, I've got this on here really thick now. Just gonna leave it on here overnight. Actually about 24 hours. I'll come up here tomorrow evening after work. I'm gonna leave this rack where it can lean back against that and won't fall over. And I'm just gonna get the rest of this out of here. Like I said, I've done made it up, so might as well use it. I don't really think I needed the extra I made up after I made it up. Just looking around, making sure everything's covered well. And as long as it's covered good, we're in good shape. Anyway, again, just mix it up. Just use your bleach like you bleach hair with. The stabilizer, which is peroxide, this is 50% by volume. Just use a little paintbrush a little bowl to mix it up in, mix it up, consistency of ketchup, spread it on, let it set and dry. I'll be back up here tomorrow evening to see how it turned out. All right, so our bleach has been on here for 24 hours. So I'm gonna brush what I can off. And then once I get what I can brushed off, just to make sure I go ahead and get it all off, I'm gonna take it outside to a hydrant and wash it off. It's pitch black out there, so I won't take you out there with me to do that, but I'm gonna go and wash it all off, make sure I get all the bleach off, and I'll be right back. All right, here's the finished product. After we've washed it off, here's the skull. I think it turned out pretty good. It's good and white. And actually, after the water that I got on it dries off, it'll even be whiter tomorrow. But anyway, we're getting ready to put it on our board and everything. But first, I want to show you guys, like I was telling you, you don't want to boil them too long because your nose piece will come off. And that's what happened on this skull right here. This is one I had up here, so I never put the nose piece back on it. But there it is. And another thing I want to show you is, you know, people talk about just setting them outside, letting it rot off, burying them, different things. Well, this is one that just sat outside and kind of rotted off. Well, you can see the skin kind of stuck to the skull. The skull's really bad, yellow. You could probably bleach it, but it's going to take a lot of bleach to do it. I think you're better off just go ahead and trim everything off, and I think it'll make you a lot better mount. All right, so this is the piece we're going to put on our skull, and that's another thing. Fasten your skull right up here where it's really heavy. This bone right here is really heavy. Down here, this is really thin. It won't hold much. But if you'll put a screw through your board that you're going to put on your board here, through this real thick part here, it'll hold very well. So I've already got me a pilot hole here. Got my board ready.
Well, you can show them what you did here real quick.
All right. So what I've got this set up where to set on the board like this. Like this. This is where to set. And then I have that skull sitting in its natural, with the rack in its natural upright position.
Excuse me. I'm over here sneezing.
Let me screw this through just a little bit. See my hole. Turn around. See. I'm about to put it on backwards. So I'm not going to put anything out here just yet. I will put a screw in here later, but right now I'm just going to leave it where if I need to move it to adjust anything I can. All right, Cody, I need to put that
right there.
there.
Let me see, Drew, I'll help you out while you hold it.
All right, we're going to get these two screws in, and before I finish it up, put a hanger on the back and everything. We'll show you what it looks like after it's on the board.
We did put some pilot holes. This old
oak is real bad. I think that one's in the right place. Does it look straight?
Before we put the other brace screws in there, you go ahead and show them how it looks.
Yep. All right, we screwed it to the table.
Oh yeah, those screws were a little long. Those got to be broke off.
There we go. All right, so here's the finished product. It'll look good, I think, hanging on the wall. The old barn wood, I think, makes it look real good. Like I said, I love a European mount. I've got 5 deer mounted. If I had to do over, every one of them would have been a European mount. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative to you. And good luck on all your hunting adventures, and may all your trophies turn out great. God bless. And like we always say, it's God, family, and the great outdoors. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, if you like my big boy channel, just click another video, then watch them. Bye.